dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice. You better roll them dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll.
Matt, what does it mean to be old?
I think everything being old is when everything starts breaking down. Where your knee, mostly it's your knees hurt, I think.
Yeah, your back hurts, your knees hurts, things don't work as well as they used to. Everything's creaky. You start to pull your pants up higher. You wake up earlier.
Wait,
you have
higher
opinions.
waisted pants are coming back for like all genders and styles,
for
right?
all
I'm
ages
here
and
for it.
genders. It's no longer an old man thing. You suddenly you've got opinions about local zoning ordinances. You're calling into your radio shows. You're writing letters to the editor.
Rob,
that's what it
there
means
are
to be
three
old.
paths for the old person, right? Woodworking, urbanism, or I don't know, something healthier than either of those.
Running,
Drinking,
or cycling. Becoming a endurance athlete.
Yes. Ultra marathoning. Today we're talking old school.
Old school
R, OSR, stuff, philosophies, design.
Yes, design philosophy. We have talked before about this type of thing, and I think, look, Matt and I are both enjoyers of the old school Renaissance. The sometimes new school. This is a term that is actually kind of contested, but we like the games in this sort of category, right? Your cairns and your motherships and your mythic bastion lands and dolmen woods and shadow darks. Like we like these things. Matt and I are both running or have run one or more of these, and I think that the OSR thing is interesting. We've talked about it a lot on this podcast because, well, for a time, a lot of the sort of like worst people in the tabletop role-playing game space were enthusiastic proponents of and boosters for old school Renaissance type stuff. But that isn't sort of like core to the identity of OSR. You don't have to be a chud to like old school stuff. It just so happened that there was sort of a cohort of such people. But beyond that cohort, there's a lot of really interesting ideas and philosophies and I guess approaches to role-playing games that have emerged from the old school Renaissance community, for lack of a better term.
I think here's the interesting thing about the evolution of role-playing game design and eventually like the help it gives you as a game master is somewhere in the 90s and 2000s. A lot of people were like pushing back for various reasons against these massive rule books filled with like stats and stuff. And, the branches didn't exactly happen simultaneously, but one group branched off and said, well, what if we put like some mechanics that like drove the story? What if the fiction forced you to eventually like roll a mechanical check that like you knew was part of the fiction or not part of the fiction, but then that forced other fiction? And then another group started thinking more critically about, well, what if we like really focus on the like experience of being a character and not these kind of fiction driving moves, but like these ruling light or rules light, ruling heavy rules. And that's the kind of branch of the OSR I think we want to talk about today. The stuff of Blags. Like there's a lot of OSR writers and they all like think a lot about games, right? This is opposed to, I think the chud version that Rob is talking about still exists, but it's mostly people who are like, I've never thought about a game. I just want the game to have, I don't know, like a muscly Conan guy, and I want to kill something. and I'm
Yeah,
mad about some perceived slight in some other development. But then there are people who are like, I really want to think about game design.
the Chud version is I want to play the red box again, and I want a Conan guy in the front, and I want my women to be scantily clad, and also I don't want there to be any women who talk. And there is sort of like an unfortunate overlap in that they want the rules to be simple because that's what the way they were when they played them the last time they were happy when they were 12 years old, and the rules being simpler because for deliberate reasons. But the non-chud version, as Matt has suggested, is full of a lot of like thinkers and writers and theorists of games. And this is look, Matt and I are both have academic training and backgrounds, so we like this stuff. But it is many, 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 many words written about the way to play tabletop role playing games, how to think about old school games, how to think about designing and prepping for and planning games. And there are good and there are bad things about it. But listen, our promise to you as podcasters is that we will read things so you don't have to. And that is what we're gonna do tonight. Is we're gonna go through some blags because the place where much of this OSR conversation is negotiated is upon the blogs of
Yes.
which they are in communication with each other and across time and space. And we have a recent one, but this stretches
Which is
back
good.
for
Like,
decades.
bad role playing game conversations happen on micro blags, social media,
Yeah,
or
that's right.
on like forums or something.
We will not be
worse than
discussing
a forum, Reddit.
any tweets or skeets or
The blog
yeah.
is a noble art form, and then
Yes.
and that's basically a bunch of letters to one imaginary fanzine.
Precise.
Is how
Precisely.
I like to think about it.
They're sort of like an essay, but much worse.
But you can embed pictures in the like
Yeah,
HTML.
but you can have hyperlinks and pictures, so it
Yeah.
really is better than an essay.
Yeah. And if you do want to read, and again, you don't have to, but we're drawing from a lot of blogs, but most heavily from Dodecahedron, aka Rowan's blog post from 2 years ago, the OSR Onion. So we're going to try and unpeel that onion a little bit, use it as a framework to deal with some things.
Yeah, there's a really good idea here. So much credit to Rowan for coming up with it. But
From
part
Portland,
of the sort of
Rob, according to the blog.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know this person?
Rowan, if you're listening, let me buy you a beverage of some kind. I didn't know that Rowan was local when I put this on our sheet. I don't even remember where I came across this post, but part of the greatness of it is a good idea. Also, it does a really good job of collating and summarizing and engaging with the existing scholarship on, for lack of a better term, on blagoship on OSR. It's it's kind of like a research review. It's a really good one. There's a lot of links here and a lot of things to talk about. But Rowan very helpfully, and I appreciate this greatly, has a summary at the very top that explains the idea, which I think is a good idea, which is what we're going to discuss. And it says,
I'll read it right now. The OSR may be best understood as a layered approach to design, much like Powered by the Apocalypse. However, while the shared foundation of Powered by the Apocalypse games is the structured conversation, the shared foundation of OSR games is a specific way of writing, refereeing, and playing adventures.
I think that's great. Matt, there are two sort of argumentative statements here, right? One about Powered by the Apocalypse and one about OSR. Do you agree with the assertions made in this summary?